Hello, everybody. This is Sonia Palick of the Absolute Human podcast. I wanted to talk to you all today and podcast about boosting your immune system. Now, we talk a lot about health here on this podcast, and you might be thinking that's pretty basic and, kind of obvious during this whole COVID-19 crisis. But the reason that I wanted to do it is because I was watching the national news the other day, and I won't say which station I was watching, but there was a Q&A with an infectious disease doctor who was answering people's questions that they had, and with these legitimate concerns about what was going on and trying to give some facts and figures and reassurances. And there was a question in particular that came up from a 58-year-old woman who had had diabetes, and she had asked this doctor what could she do to boost her immunity. And to my surprise, he said that there was absolutely nothing that she could do to boost her immunity other than get the infection or have a vaccination, which would then, kickstart her body's own internal immune response. Now, I was absolutely livid that he gave her that, because it really took away her power of being able to do something just through her daily lifestyle, diet or exercise routines that can actually make a really big difference to your immunity. So I want to dispel that myth that there is nothing to be done about your immunity, and that, we're just sort of like sitting ducks, and if you happen to have some bad luck, you might catch this COVID-19 virus, and that is not the case. There is so much that you can do, and I want to talk to you about what Chinese medicine thinks about the immune system. So the immune system in Chinese medicine, that is the one that sort of really fights off pathogens, is called the Wei Qi, and it sort of is our frontline defense system. So how that kind of manifests is through about 5 different levels, and I'm just going to go through them really quickly, but they'll be sounding very obvious to all of us about how the immune system really works to really create a line of defense and protection. So in Chinese medicine, viruses get into the body on the back of wind and cold. Like, that's the qualities that they possess. So the first thing that the body does to respond to that is to sort of hunch up our shoulders towards our ears. It's a real innate response. You probably would feel that same way if you went out into the wind and cold. And with this virus being also wind cold, that is what happens. So sometimes people might experience some pain in their upper back, neck, shoulders area. A good reason to wear a scarf during these times, or a turtleneck. Next, what happens is you might sneeze. So this is the next level. So of course, the sneeze is probably the best way to get out any pathogen. It's like strong force, really combating that pathogen. So we've got this sneezing happening next. And if that doesn't cut it, and this virus kind of gets past that exterior, then the nose starts to create some mucus and it starts to run. Again, another way to trap the virus, but then you blow your nose and off it goes. And then at the same time, you're sweating, and the body is producing the sweat to open up the skin. And again, just really evicting anything that could be coming in. So far we've got sore neck and upper back, sneezing, runny nose, sweating. And then if neither of those are working, you're going to get a fever. So the fever will really burn the pathogen. And remember that these pathogens will die at a certain temperature. And I think something in the 50 degrees Celsius-ish area is the temperature that will kill the coronavirus. So our body, in its innate intelligence, will do that. So these symptoms, of course, are all symptoms of, colds you might have had in the past or flus, but it's really the body's defense mechanism doing its thing, and the stronger that your immune system or Wei Qi is, the easier it will release. So you might only have, just some sneezing and sniffling, and it won't get to some of the other more serious symptoms. Now that you understand how that system works, we just really want to make sure that our immune system, our Wei Qi, is stronger than the pathogens that are out there. So they're, coming at us in lots of different ways. And it's just the fact that this Corona COVID-19 is something new that, and it's quite strong. So we want to make sure that our Wei Qi is just as strong. So I'm going to give you some recommendations on 2 different organ systems to think about when you are boosting your Wei Qi. So here we go. So the first thing that we want to look at in Chinese medicine is the kidney yang. So that's going to be the first foundation of your Wei Qi. So kidney yang is sort of that moving, warming energy, and that's really how the viruses are able to sort of move out of the body because of that kidney energy breaking up the cold and moving it out. So we want to make sure that we're keeping that energy strong. And the best way to do it is through getting a great night's sleep. So what do I mean by this? I mean that you want to go to sleep early and you want to sleep deeply. So preferably before 10 gives the body a nice amount of time to recharge. And you want to make sure that you're sleeping, of course, in a dark room. So this is not the time to be taking the, phone or tablet to bed to finish up that Netflix episode because it'll be there tomorrow. You want to make sure that there is no light in there, so you're so that your body produces enough melatonin to go to bed. So beyond this no screens rule, you could use blackout blinds or a sleep mask to make sure that it's as dark as possible. So get that good quality sleep. Make sure you're eating enough food during the day so that your body doesn't have to draw upon that kidney energy. And make sure that you are meditating. Meditation is a must during this time and a must for boosting that kidney energy. We are on almost all the time, and I'm sure all of us are feeling, a lot of feelings right now. So there's a lot of uncertainty. There's a lot of unknown, a lot of fear, a lot of grief, a lot of things happening. And that also takes a lot of our body's resources, especially our kidney energy. So we want to make sure that we replenish it by meditating. So make sure that you are meditating. At least do one session of 10 minutes a day, if not 2 10 to 20 minute sessions. Now, there's certain foods that you want to be taking a look at, because now you want to make sure that you are eating. So the biggest thing here is to stay away from anything cold. So no cold foods, no cold beverages, nothing raw, sticky, sugary, anything with dairy, no cheese either, and anything glutinous. That's going to provide a real cold quality to the body. And right now we're into keeping everything warm. So you want to be having things like really warm ones. And I'm going to talk about that in just a moment when we go into the second pillar of your immunity. So we're going to stay away from anything cold and anything that's, too spicy. Coffee or alcohol is also out right now because it's just too depleting to the kidney energy. Right now, we want to be using all of that just to make sure that we stay healthy and well, not just for ourselves, but for our family and community and people around us who, might be needing our help later on. So that is definitely what you want to be working on for kidney energy. And then the other pillar is the stomach energy. So the stomach energy in this, for our Wei Qi, is the stomach yin, or sort of the moistness and the fluid level of the stomach. Again, remember, we want to make sure that that mucus and that sweat, that your body is able to produce it. And the only way that it'll produce it is if we're eating foods that have that quality. So this means that for breakfast, you want to have things like porridge or congee, which is like an Asian ricey soup. Lunch or dinner, you can do broths, stews, soups, casseroles, and then add some fats in there, like some eggs or butter or ghee or fish. And it's going to really give the food that nice moistness that your body can then utilize to fight off any pathogens. And again, with the same thing with the kidney energy, you want to stay away from those cold foods and also foods like coffee, alcohol, and hot spices that could really dry the body out. So now that you know that that's what you want to be eating, make sure you're eating it in a way that's nice and calm. So, I know there's going to be a lot of time with family and friends, or not friends, but like family, if you're living in the same household, make a real ritual of your meals and eat together without screens or other distractions, and just focus on eating mindfully. That's another way that you can build that stomach energy. So very quickly, just 2 organs that you want to think about, but that will go a really long way to boosting your immunity. And really, I want to make sure that you're all feeling empowered and strong, and knowing that you can make shifts to your lifestyle and choices that won't only, make a big difference right now as we go through this COVID-19 crisis together, but afterwards, when, we're going to have to sort of look at our world and sort of see some of the different changes that will no doubt be there. And we want to make sure that we're in our best, most optimal levels of health to sort of deal with what's coming next, and really open ourselves to possibilities and see things differently and relate to each other differently, so that it doesn't just stop with, fighting off a cold or a flu. This is really about you feeling in control of your life and making sure that you're making good decisions for yourself and staying healthy, because you have a lot of life to live. And we here at the Absolute Human Podcast want to make sure that you're doing that to the best of your abilities. Thank you, everybody, for listening to this episode. And I want to make sure that you're all staying well and healthy, and sending you all my best. Thank you.